Let me repeat that question. The question was, how does the Passenger Vessel Act differ from the Jones Act? Well, in this essence, the Passenger Vessel Act is a mirror, essentially, of the Jones Act, but applies to passengers rather than cargo. So, any vessel carrying passengers between U.S. ports must be U.S. built, U.S. owned, U.S. crewed. Now, when we talk about passenger vessels, there are a wide variety of passenger vessels, ranging from six-pack charter boats to cruise ships. The differentiating element is whether it's an inspected passenger vessel, which means you may carry whatever the limit of the certificate of inspection is, to a charter boat. Now, the issue that keeps getting discussed and bannered about is, well, what's a passenger? A passenger, definitively, is any person who pays any consideration for his passage on the boat. Now, there's some exceptions to this, but generally, if you have one passenger on your boat who's paid to be there, you must either be a six-pack charter, perhaps a 12-pack charter if you meet the tonnage requirements, or an inspected vessel. Let's look at the six-pack charter first. Six-pack charter is an uninspected vessel, has a licensed captain, meets minimum crewing requirements, right, and can carry up to 6 passengers. This is sort of the entry level on any type of passenger vessel. Same requirements, but if the boat measures more than 100 tons, and remember, tonnage measurements are volume, not weight. If it measures more than 100 tons gross, you can have up to 12 passengers. Also on a charter boat like that, you can, a representative of the owner can be considered non-passenger. Crew members are non-passengers. But you can't sneak people on and to get a little higher passenger count. Also, the boat must be U.S. built. You can get a waiver for a foreign-built boat if it's more than 3 years old and there's no competition in that market, and that's done through the Maritime Administration. Move up the scale to an inspected vessel. Inspected vessels are basically what, when we talk about the Passenger Vessel Act, that's what we're concerned about. Now, all of these boats, 6-packs on up, have to have a coastwise endorsement. To get the coastwise endorsement, it must be U.S. built, U.S. owned. That's 75% of the stock in a corporation, plus the chief executive and the chairman of the board. All the members of an LLC, and if it's an individual, must be 100% owned. So if you have the coastwise endorsement, you go through the Coast Guard inspections. These inspections are very, very difficult, which means that if the boat is not purpose-built, it's going to be very hard to meet all the requirements. Years ago, we had a case where a client had invested several $1,000,000 in building a boat. The design of the boat wasn't exactly in compliance with U.S. Coast Guard. By the time we got involved and had it properly surveyed, the determination was that the cost of making the conversion, and this is a boat that was being built from the keel up, the cost of making the conversion could not be justified. It would have been cheaper to start over. So if you think about converting a boat, get a good architect, meet all the Coast Guard requirements, and see what it's going to cost. The certificate of inspection is awarded once Coast Guard or ABS has completed the inspection and you've met all electrical, plumbing, crewing, safety, balance, all of those issues. So then they will issue a certificate of inspection which says you are entitled to take 49 or 149 or some larger number of paying passengers on board. This certificate has to be renewed. You have to dry dock every, I believe it's 2 years now. You're subject to inspection at any time. You must have U.S. crew, U.S. officers, captain must have a tonnage and the tonnage license suitable for the boat. Very extensive, but something you have to be very, very concerned about. Okay. Yes?